Hello, YouTube. I am here to talk about the horror movies that scarred me. I have a handy dandy list that I wrote out. This is very vintage style. And yeah, let's just get into it. Let's get straight into it. I have some honorable mentions to start off. First, I'd like to talk about the two honorable mentions that I have, which would be The Grudge, the American version of The Grudge that happened in 2004, and I also put down Scream 2 as another honorable mention. I think the original Grudge, the Ju-on, the Japanese version, would be on this list if I saw that movie first. But I was first introduced to the American Grudge, and that movie, it still scares me. But it's so good. It's so good. But it's a movie that will always make me feel a little nervous and a little anxious if I watch it. And I think that's a long-lasting impression of that movie and that film. And I also feel like I'm not the only one that feels that way. I think The Grudge and the long hair and just the way the ghost moved and also her reason for being named The Grudge is just so good. Just brilliant film. Brilliant film. Um, Talking about Scream 2 now, I just remember being a kid and being at a family friend's house, and the Scream 2 was playing, and I just remember someone falling out of a window. I'm not really doing spoilers, and also anyone could fall out of a window, so that's not a spoiler. But for some reason, and I saw that mask, I saw the person running around with the mask, and I'm like, oh my god, that's horrifying. And I was terrified of horror movies ever since. Somewhere along the way, I got back into watching horror movies, but Scream 2 was like the first horror movie that I remember in my psyche of seeing very briefly. So Scream 2 and The Grudge are my honorable mentions. Now let's get into the real list of movies that scarred me. These are movies that I either can't watch again or I need a couple years to pass before I watch it, or movies that made me feel genuinely scared. I watch a lot of horror movies and I don't really get scared that often. I might get a little like, ooh, what was that? Um, but I don't really get terrified. These are movies that made me feel really unsettled, made me contemplate whether I should continue watching horror movies again, made me shiver. That's what I mean by movies that scarred me. Okay, getting into it, starting now. Number 11, this is a list of 11 movies. The number 11 movie would be Train to Busan, which is a Korean horror film action thriller. And this movie's a really good movie if you haven't seen it already. If you are into zombies, you must see Train to Busan. Everything is brilliant about that movie. Love it, obsessed with it. The only thing where I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I can watch this again, was the very ending. The ending of the movie is why I haven't rewatched it. But I've been meaning to. Enough time has passed where I think I could dive into it because I'm a huge fan of running fast, quick zombies. Big fan of those kinds of zombies. So that's number 11. In the number 10 spot, we have The Conjuring. I know there are so many different movies based off of The Conjuring now, or like the franchise. There's so many different Conjuring movies. I haven't watched all of them. I remember watching the first one and the second one, but the first one is imprinted in my mind. I watched it in like a packed theater. There's nothing like watching a horror film in a packed theater. The energy is ecstatic. And I think my sister and I watched it together. And I just remember, like, okay, mini spoiler. If you haven't seen this already, I think this is in the trailer though. I'm pretty sure this is in the trailer. But the clapping, just that moment, like, game changer. Truly. At that moment, I was like, and I am now terrified. Thank you. Thank you, filmmakers. Thank you. Amazing film. I really do like The Conjuring. It's a movie that I have definitely watched over and over again. I've seen it more than once. Some of these films I have re-seen. Some of these films I watched once and have decided never again. But The Conjuring is a film that I think is fun. It scarred me, but it was fun. Like, it's a fun film to watch. It's a good film to watch with others as well. Number 9 would be The Blair Witch Project. let me tell you, I rewatched this movie recently and I thought, oh, this movie's not that scary. Like, I'm pretty sure I can rewatch and I'll think, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Rewatched it by myself. There's something haunting about that movie. Cursed film. I'm just kidding. But just the way the filmmakers did it, I have the filmmakers' names written down. The way Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez did the film was just so, like, haunting and disturbing and frightful. And I was also on my toes, wondering what was gonna happen. I've seen this movie before, so the fact that I rewatched it thinking, like, this isn't gonna affect me. No, I was affected. I was terrified. Like, I was terrified to go to sleep for some reason. Just, it's such a good movie. If you haven't seen The Blair Witch Project yet, please do. Also, kudos for the filmmakers to essentially being the inventors of, like, found footage. Like, that is a big deal. We are on number 8 on my list, and for number 8 I have Donnie Darko. I watched this movie this year for the first time, and I've heard a lot of good things about this film. I knew it was a film that is disturbing, and yeah, I was disturbed. I was very disturbed when I watched this movie. I'm just thinking back to it right now, and all I can think of is that damn rabbit, creepy demonic mask. Ugh. Just so disturbing. This is a film that I don't know if I could watch again. It was that disturbing. Not just because of the rabbit, but because of the other events that occur in the film. There's just a lot of terrifying facts, and it also deals with mental illness and just the way humans function. Some are more disturbing than others. That's all I'll say about Donnie Darko. I don't want to give too much away if you haven't seen it already. You should watch it. You should watch it and be scarred like I am. Number 7 on my list is Where Evil Lurks. This movie came out in 2023. This is a Spanish gore horror film. I loved this movie. Obsessed with this movie. When I watched this film for the first time, I was like, oh my god, like, this is my kind of horror film. It had the perfect amount of gore, the perfect amount of mystery, the perfect amount of thriller, that heightened, panicked sensation. For me, it really was a well-rounded horror film. I had a great time. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was wondering what's gonna happen next. Who's next, you know? I had a fun time watching this film. It's a film that I do want to rewatch. I want to see this again. I've only seen it the one time. One thing I really like about horror films is sometimes there's a mystery to solve. There's something to be done. It's not all just dreadful and everything sucks. There's a bit of hope. And I think with this film, I could sense that, like, oh, things are gonna work out. No spoilers, of course, but yeah, I loved that mystery that was in this film, and also the sense of dread. It was a great combination, and I definitely need to watch this film again. Did it scar me? Yes. Will I be seeing it again? Also yes. We're now on number 6, which is Speak No Evil, the 2022 version, and this would be the Dutch/Danish version. Some people didn't love this movie. Some people thought that the characters were making silly choices and decisions. For me personally, I found this movie really relatable. As someone who doesn't want to stir the pot and is really nice, subtle flex. But in terms of this film, I really related to the characters and the decisions they made. That's all I can really say. Did I find it disturbing overall? Oh, 100%, especially the ending. If you've seen the recent version of this film, that's great. I also saw that, but you need to see the original. Then tell me your overall thoughts on how you feel about the movie and the characters' decisions and choices. I loved it. It's a movie that I really did enjoy. Number 5 on my list is Hereditary. Okay. I haven't rewatched this movie. I watched Hereditary when it first came out in 2018, and I remember thinking I need about 5 years before I'm able to watch this movie again. And I was right. I haven't seen the movie since. I could watch it now. Enough time has passed. But Ari Aster is a very interesting filmmaker, a very talented filmmaker. I've also saw this other film that he created, which was called, I have it written down. Okay, found it. It was called The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Anyway, he's great at making disturbing films. That's that on that. Hereditary, also wonderful cast. Amazing casting choices were made. Whew, that movie still gets me. I should rewatch it though, but as you can see, this list is movies that scarred me, so it might take some time. But I will be rewatching Hereditary probably sometime, maybe even this month, since it is spooky season. If you're still watching, I wonder if you can guess the 4 remaining films on my list. Okay, number 4. Why am I laughing? Number 4 would be Talk to Me. I watched this movie last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago now. In my notes, it says that it came out in 2022. I remember watching this movie and being genuinely horrified, but also thrilled. I loved the modern take on Ouija boards, essentially. And there's some other stuff that happens in the movie, and there's some other stuff that goes down. I won't be saying all of it or any of it really, because if you haven't seen Talk to Me, you really, really should. It's a good movie. It had that thrill factor for me. I was horrified. Like, this is a movie that genuinely really did scare me. Like, genuinely, to the depths of my soul, scared me. It is a movie that I would probably watch again, though. But it made me feel quite disturbed, I will say. So, great job, filmmakers. Great job. The folks who made this film also made Bring Her Back, which I watched recently. Similar vibes, completely different movie altogether, but I'm enjoying the filmmaker's style, Danny Filippo and Michael Filippo. Wonderful, wonderful work. Also, I'm trying my best to make sure I'm saying folks' names correctly. If I am saying it incorrectly, I apologize. But obsessed with all of these movies in some shape or form, so this is all praise. Number 3. We're getting really close to the top of the list, everybody. Can you guess what number 3 is? You probably can't, honestly. Or maybe you figured me out. Number 3 is Nope, written and directed by Jordan Peele. It's not a scary movie per se. The genre would be sci-fi thriller. But there was just something about the way the alien moved that made me physically ill. Like, I remember seeing that movie and being like, I never want to see this ever again. Don't bring this movie near me. I cannot rewatch it. There was just something about the way the alien moved. It made me so uncomfortable. I cannot explain it. Also, just the shape of it, the shape shifting, just anyway. Ugh. Thinking about it right now makes me uncomfortable. Amazing film. I also was disturbed by the message about animal abuse and the monkey. Just Jordan Peele did a great job in making me feel deeply, deeply uncomfortable with Nope. And stellar cast as well. Stellar cast. Okay. The number 2 spot is Possession. I don't know why I said it like that. Possession. 1981's Possession. This movie disturbed me to no end. It's also very long. It's long and it's dreadful, and it made me question horror as a genre. Not in a bad way, in a, oh my goodness, this is what I consume as a horror lover. Yeah. disturbing movie. There's a very specific scene that comes to mind. If you've seen Possession, you know which scene I'm talking about. You're thinking about it right now, aren't you? So am I. Terrifying, horrifying, disturbing. Happy I watched it. I'm really happy I watched it because now I know. Now I know. I no longer have to go on not knowing what that movie is about. Possession essentially is about a woman who leaves her husband. He thinks she's having an affair, and it actually turns out to be something far more sinister. That's all I'm saying. That's the very brief synopsis of what that movie's about. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't mind being a little disturbed and petrified, watch it. Tell me your thoughts, because I saw it and I remember thinking, has anyone else seen this movie recently? Because I need to have a sit down chat with everybody, all the folks that have seen it. We have reached a very special moment, everyone. The number one movie that has scarred me. Can you give it a guess? I can't hear you. The answer is The Exorcist. Yes, The Exorcist, 1973, The Exorcist. I watched that movie scared for my life. Scared for my life. I thought, oh, this movie's not going to scare me that much. Like, whatever. Overhyped. I sat in my living room, my blanket covering my eyes, but still peeking through so I could see what was going on. There's just something about making a young child possessed for a whole movie and just doing it so raw, and it was gory and just disturbing in all aspects. Will I rewatch The Exorcist? Maybe. It's a good movie. It's a good movie to watch around now, I think. Also, watch it anytime, like I did. I remember watching it last year for the first time and thinking, wow, I'm very disturbed by this. Even though it scarred me, I could watch it again, because it also had some fun to it. Maybe because it's such a big name in the horror movie industry and everyone knows about it and there's merch and all that. But yeah, I think I could actually watch this movie again, even though it scarred me, and it's the number one movie that scarred me on my list. Wild. Okay, closing my notebook of notes. We have reached the end of my list. Also, the notebook says 2022 on it. Anyway, unimportant. Thank you for watching. If you are watching, let me know any movies that scarred you, or if you have any recommendations for me based off of this list. Feel free to shoot some recommendations down in the comments. I've seen The Substance, if you're thinking, oh, you didn't even mention The Substance. I really loved that movie. It's amazing. And it did scar me in a way, but it was also fun to watch and funny. So I think the funny and the fun balanced out the disturbing images that still sit with me from that movie. Because it did pop up as a potential honorable mention, but then I realized there were other movies that stood out to me that really did scar me personally. What movie scarred you as a child, right now? Any horror or thriller recommendations? Gory, not gory, whatever you got. I am here for it. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.